Alrighty, cool. This is gonna be my first video. Doing some type of essay experience type talk. Yeah. We have an Asseco. Just make this easier on myself. Full transparency. It's weird talking to a camera. Just being in my room. And we have this to help me out, to help me feel good about myself. Melon Asseco. You should try it. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep this audio consistent. But today we're going to be talking about honesty. There's an age-old saying. Sorry, that was actually really crude. I'm so sorry. Age-old saying, honesty is the best policy. People have arguments for it. White lies exist. You want to protect people's feelings. You're worried about the outcome or the certain consequences of situations if you are honest. And today we're just going to talk about that. We're going to talk about my experiences. We're going to talk about just a bunch of random stuff that just came up in my mind, and I've been talking about it with my friends recently, and I feel confident enough to talk about it on here. This is going to be perfect. By all means, this is already starting off shambles, but we're just going to go ahead with it. I have developed, I'm not sure if I've developed, I'm sure this ideology, this theory exists somewhere in the world. I just haven't seen it. And I believe honesty is very closely linked to how much we care for other people. Naturally, honesty, we'll talk about in this sense, is towards others, towards the people we care about, people in our environment, all of that. And I like to see it as, if you guys can imagine this kind of graph. Is that a positive x squared graph? I hope it is a positive square graph. You can imagine here we're gonna label this y-axis. Hope you can see it. This y-axis right here. It's called how honest we are with people. It's gonna go up, gonna go down. There's no minus, unfortunately, but up or down. I guess you could say that's lying. That's regardless of the point. And then you have this is how much we care for others. On the, I'm so sorry. Yeah, on the x-axis, you can see it right here. I'm drawing it out for you. And yum. Yeah. I believe if you imagine a positive x squared graph, it goes like this. Mr. Harvey Minaris, why is that? I like to think, hopefully this is an agreeable opinion, I find it easiest to be honest with people at both ends of the spectrum of how much I care. There is people I don't care for at all, strangers, I don't know, bullies, like whoever you see as someone you could not care less about. You don't think about their success at all. And then you have people who we love very much, hold dear to our hearts. If you are fortunate enough to have amazing family members, to have a romantic partner, to have really, really good friends, you want them, most people want them to be here. Now, why is there this dip? I consider this gray area of I'm so sorry, my music is not eating right now. I feel like I should have gotten a stand for this mic. Melon is such a... Are you still recording? I'm still recording. There's this gray area. I think you can categorize this, or you can categorize this as like a no man's land of people at work, people you find annoying, people who are like your acquaintances, people you're in your group projects with. Oh my goodness, I hate to say it, I am that guy in a group project. Like, I really don't do any work, and I think I just get by with whatever flair I've got. I kind of just let people do that. I'm sorry, I have my own reasons. It's whatever. Please don't hate me. Yeah, just generally speaking, professional relationships. Now, I think there's now also a link with these kinds of no man's land, gray area relationships, and the older we get, because ultimately I think majority of people, as we grow up, we put on a mask. We care a lot more about our perception, and for good reason. What we think is good reason anyways. We need to be successful. We have jobs. We gain more complex relationships. You're going to start thinking about, oh, if you have a romantic partner, you're going to think about, long term. You're going to think about, which friends are right for you, which ones you want to keep around. You're probably old enough to have been let in on the family drama as well, right? And you're going to think like, man, I don't mess with these people as much as I used to. And that's going to be perfectly fine. It's ultimately about, I think what a lot of people get confused about is the level of honesty they should hold with these certain types of people in this no man's land. I really hope like this graph doesn't have to move much when I edit it, so it looks clean and whatnot. But yeah, this is essentially my theory. And more recently, since turning 21 and starting to build a career for myself, I've realized I'm gaining a lot more of these no man's land, gray area type relationships. And it feels a bit sad because I think for a while now, I like to think I grew up lying a lot. I feel like, certain influences in my life, I think they had the right intention with lying to me, keeping me happy, or maybe just not like keeping me not being that little annoying kid who's always asking for something. I was a spoiled kid, I'm very fortunate. In fact, I'm in Singapore right now. I'm a student from the UK, if you didn't already know. So I'm a spoiled kid, and I was lied to a lot for the sake of, just the sake of whatever reason it could have been. It was probably justified in the moment. My point is, I ended up taking that habit of lying a lot to people, and it used to be about pretty big things, and it hindered a lot of my relationships, the progress anyways, and it ended some, and it was bad. I like to think I've grown from it. And to be honest, I used to lie, I think up until more recently, I used to lie a lot about a lot of the smaller things, there's this one, probably like the biggest lie I tell to people, just your average people. I'm a brown belt 2 white stripe. In karate, in Shotokan karate, I'm a brown belt 2 white stripe. I have the belts to prove it. It's whatever. I ended this in year 7 because I was scared of getting beaten up. For a lot of my karate journey, I was kind of considered top of the class, favorite by my sensei and whatnot. And in year 7, I moved to an official school where there was a bunch of adults, teenagers, and people just a lot taller, heavier, more experienced than me, and I didn't like it. Unfortunately, I didn't like it. And yet, I up until recently, I kept telling people, oh, I'm a black belt in karate, because of the prestige behind it, because it's only 1 belt away after brown belt 2 white stripe. Ultimately, I'm not a black belt. I'm a brown belt 2 white stripe, and I tried to own it. Hence, I think this is a lie I want to tell the world or whoever sees this. I'm a brown belt 2 white stripe. If I lied to you about being a black belt, I'm sorry. Ultimately, I cared a lot more about the way I was perceived. If I lied to you, I cared a lot more about the way I was perceived by you, because ultimately I'm insecure in that sense, I guess you could say, right? Oh my goodness, this is so good. But that no longer I try to be. Ultimately, I'm human. Still gonna fail. It's whatever. If you can acknowledge it, you'll be absolutely fine. I say you. This is more so kind of just from me. If you want to take what you can from it, by all means. But I had a few more notes, so I'm gonna look on that. But I promise, it is very off the cuff. It's quite sick. I made another point of, because I lived such an unhealthily lack of truth lifestyle as a kid, I have somewhat of an obsession with trying to live honestly, and I get very upset at myself when I lie, or when I feel forced to lie, or when I feel like I can't tell the truth, or I have to withhold the truth. And it's becoming more prevalent now. As we're getting older, we're experiencing more emotional events, good or bad, and it's kind of just like, I feel the need to pattern up, and I hate it, because honestly, I like to link, I want to make it part of my personality. It's getting dangerous. I feel like I need to eat more of this. Yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh my goodness. Yeah. I want to believe honesty is the best policy, and for a while I did, until I encountered people who showed me a different perspective. That white lies, or even just not saying anything at all, sometimes benefit people more. And for a while I found it hard to believe that my way of thinking, because I'm such a happy, jolly guy most of the time, at least to the people I care about, I prided myself on it, and I still kind of do. It's just I like to think I'm a little bit more open to other perspectives of how people want to deal with negative emotions or negative events in their life. And yeah, that's it really. I'm very grateful. You know who you are if you are watching this video. You probably gave me a different perspective, and for that I'm grateful for you and your experiences. But yeah, thank you once again. My point is, there isn't much more point to it. Be honest, and good things will come. I like to think this honestly goes more into authenticity now, not just being honest, but very closely linked to authenticity, being authentic. I can't help but take a lot of pride in it as well. I feel like I have a lot of people around me that I know only love and care, and I'm very, very, very grateful. And as much as I am, like, what did I do to deserve this? I do unironically try to think about that, and I think I have cultivated an environment for myself purely just by being honest with others and having a good intention. There's having a good intention is important. I think you should make that intention clear if ever it is, if there is room to misinterpret, right? There's this one caption I remember from way back when, Champagne Papi on Instagram, Drake, as you'll know him. One post, and within that long paragraph of a caption that he wrote, a zesty post, he says, "Be beautifully, brutally honest." It's a very good point that people make, that he made, sorry. And I think a lot of people, I don't think it's an actual saying, to be fair. I think maybe he made it up, but I think people always say, "Be brutally honest." And this kind of goes into a thing of balance, where it's like, how much of your emotion do you withhold from the truth when confronting someone? And it's a good point to make. Being brutally honest, typically people can respond well to it, but ultimately you can always choose the option of how do you say it, changing your preferences of how you speak to someone for each person that you go through, and having like a mental recording of the way they react to certain things and things you say and whatnot, right? I should have burped into the mic, damn it. But yeah, you can go for that approach of being very specific about each person, or you can go for the a more general approach that you think most people will appreciate, which I think is the way I go about it personally. I think I don't have the mental capacity to do that kind of gymnastics in my head of maintaining a different type of preference for each person that I love and care for. So I just go for this general one where I'd like to think it's a balance of being brutal and beautiful. Beautiful refers to, being beautifully honest, referring to just being considerate, knowing that there is a way that if you want to get a point across to someone and you think it's going to hurt them, be considerate about it. Make your intentions known. Let them know that you love them and care for them and want the best for them. And I think a lot of people forget that. And I think as much as it's very understandable to, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I could be a sword swallower, bro. As much as, what was I gonna say? As much as I can understand that, you think your friends should be able to understand your intentions when you do something, sometimes people are just emotional, and you have to be prepared. You know, I've experienced it. I've made other people upset, and they've been honest with me, and I really, really, really appreciate it. I think, yeah, just generally part of the reason as to why I'm so happy people consider me such a jolly, energetic guy is because people are honest with me. Once again, I'm so grateful. But I do like to think I play a part in it. I do like to think I've contributed to that environment, in the sense that I'm also honest with people. And once again, I try. I don't get it right every time. I try to make my intentions known. What banger. I was gonna say, yeah, people are very, very soft with their blows when it comes to criticism of the way I do things. And then I believe you can hear it. You can hear they're not holding anything back, and like there's a certain kind of vulnerability that they have when being honest with me. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I try to, you know, I'll take this point now to say that I really do notice it. For all those who have been honest with me, whether it is through adoration, you were nervous, you wanted to tell me something that you either liked about me or what I was doing, or you wanted to criticize me and say something you didn't like me doing. There was generally speaking, there's always been this sense of vulnerability. And to all those people who have done either of the two, thank you so much, because there was never this kind of, I never felt like there was any ulterior motive. It just felt like you cared for me. And once again, I'm very, very grateful. You know, I think the more I think about this, I think I just miss my friends back home. I think, full disclosure, I hope you guys are doing well. And yeah, I can't wait to see you guys. But yeah, I don't know what else to do now. I think I've said everything I want to say. Be honest. It's important. And I promise you, being honest with others will make a really big impact on your perspectives in life, and the way you see it, and the things you'll enjoy, and how happy you'll be, and well, ultimately just how grateful you'll be, how much you'll want, you know. So yeah, man, for real, that's all I gotta say. We're gonna end it there. Yeah, that's take one. That's my perspectives on honesty. Hopefully I said everything I want to say. If not, I'll follow up with some part 2 or some other aspect. I really enjoyed this. This was fun. Bye bye.